Hello everyone and welcome back. I'd like to apologise for my very long absence. I've had some computer issues and I've not been able to create the content at the quality I'd want to. I've also had a few personal issues on top of that to resolve. However, I'm no longer having these issues and I can sit and work on the content I want to share at a standard I'd expect. For those who found me during my absence, welcome to the family. I hope you've enjoyed my content. As you can see, we've also had a rebrand, and I'll be aiming to release a new video weekly, along with other content, running series, with ideas broken down into several videos, and YouTube shorts. So with all that said, let's get started on today's video. Grab your snacks, a drink, your favourite blanket, and let's dive right in. In the southeast of England lies the county of Kent, known for its picturesque landscapes, rich history, historic dockyards, seaside towns, and the city of Canterbury, which was erected during the Roman era. However, our focus today is on the village of Pluckley. Pluckley is a quaint village, roughly 7 miles from Ashford, a town known for its quick links to the capital, international destinations in Europe, and discount shopping outlets and markets. Adjacent is Pluckley Thorn. Pluckley was mentioned in the Domesday book, referred to as Pluchelei, and was land owned by the Bishop of Canterbury Christ Church as it was known at the time. The Domesday Book isn't as grave as it sounds. Completed in 1086 on behalf of King William the Conqueror, it was the great survey of households comprising of much of England and Wales, which would evolve over time and become what's known as the population census today. However, the subject we're discussing about what Pluckley is known for is a little more grave than the Domesday Book. 1989. Pluckley was given the title of the most haunted place in Britain, and its title it still holds to this day, becoming somewhat of a tourist trap during spooky season, from disembodied screaming in the nearby Daring Woods to apparitions, with 12 to 15 ghosts roaming the village and surrounding areas, making themselves known often. So let's dive a little more in depth, talking about the Screaming Woods and some more of the more prolific ghosts of Pluckley. Daring Woods, or the Screaming Woods as it is known, is a 5-minute drive from Pluckley, on the other side of Pluckley Thorn. If you take a walk through Daring Woods, or drive by after dusk, it is reported that you can hear disembodied screams emanating from the area. On the morning of November 1st, 1948, 20 bodies of local residents to the area were found, 11 of which were children. The night before, which was Halloween, it was reported there was a mysterious light coming from the forest where the massacre took place. Although autopsies couldn't find the cause of the death, there were no marks, scars, or bruises found on the bodies, and the investigation was swiftly dropped and labelled as carbon monoxide poisoning. This raised more questions than it did answer with the locals, and they believed the police were possibly involved in the massacre. In 1964, private investigator Robert Collins conducted interviews with locals trying to uncover news on a supposed unknown religious cult in the nearby village of Smarden. He died a year later in a car accident. Halloween, 1998, 4 students entered the forest and they were never seen again. Villagers reported seeing lights in the sky similar to spider webs above Daring Woods. After 3 weeks of them being missing, police dropped the case and halted all search efforts immediately. It is said that after dark, coming from the Daring Woods, you can hear blood-curdling screams of terror that are believed to be the people of the massacre and the missing students on those Halloween nights of Daring Woods. The spectre of the highwayman is a prevalent ghost of Pluckley. You can find him on the main road of Pluckley village on Fright Corner, making himself more prominent at night, especially to lone drivers. The highwayman's spirit belongs to the man who was killed in the 18th century, believed to have been fighting with those in the village who were to keep the peace. After losing the fight, he was speared to a nearby oak tree with a sword where he eventually perished. His battle is reenacted, which always has the same fateful ending as he did that night. The highwayman is one of the most cited ghosts of the village. Around the village of Pluckley you can hear a phantom horse and cart. Mainly reported in Mortman's Hill, there have been 2 reported sightings that gained significant attention in 1997. A driver almost got into a road accident after hearing horses on the road along with a cart and swerved to avoid them. However, once the car had come to a stop, the driver couldn't see the horse he heard a minute ago. He got out of the car to inspect the road to discover he was alone. Another woman sighted the horse and cart. She reported to have seen the horse and cart with light coming from within and apparitions of people inside the cart. There have also been other reportings from around the village of the phantom horse and cart. There have been reported sightings of a ghost of a gypsy woman near Pinnock Bridge in the village. The spirit is said to belong to a gypsy woman who drowned in a stream near the bridge. Apparently, she was making a living picking and selling the watercress harvested near the stream where she fell in and drowned. It is reported that her apparition appears as a white mist sitting on the bridge above the stream, smoking her pipe. Although silent, she appears friendly and means to do no harm and just watches the world go by at night, sitting on the bridge, smoking her favourite pipe. Richard Buss, more affectionately known as Dickie, was a miller and a well-known figure in the village. His mill was operational during the last century, however, he made the decision to close his mill in 1930. In 1939, it was destroyed in a storm when it was struck by lightning. Dickie is said to haunt the ruins of the abandoned windmill and the local area, and he is also spotted in the village just before a thunderstorm hits. It seems Dickie has some unfinished business in the village and likes to take care of his neighbours, alerting them when there's a storm on the way. This entry also involves Dickie, who we just covered in the last segment. On Dickie Buss's Lane, named after Dickie, it is said to be the home of the ghost of the hanging schoolmaster, who in life was Henry Turf, and he was the headmaster of Pluckley School during the 1920s. However, here is where the details become slightly distorted. The first recollection of events is Henry from Pluckley was friends with another school headmaster from the neighbouring village of Smarden, where Henry would travel to see his friend every Sunday to discuss politics, and on his journey discovers his friend's lifeless hanging body in the nearby mills. Unable to cope, Henry decides to take his life in the same manner as his dearly departed friend. Another story reports that Henry took his life after returning from deployment in World War I. Unable to cope with what he experienced during the Great War, he took his life. Another report says that Henry from Smarden would visit his friend, Dickie, in Pluckley every Sunday to discuss politics. Upon leaving his friends one night, Henry went missing. A little time later, he was discovered by his friend hanging lifelessly from a tree. Henry's ghost is reportedly seen hanging from that same tree on Dickie Buss's Lane where he had reportedly taken his life. With Pluckley being a small solemn village to many spirits and sad situations, home to unfortunately abrupt endings, the Colonel is another sad story involving... Not much is known about the Colonel other than that he travelled to Parkwood to hang himself from a tree. Although the area where the unfortunate events played out has mostly been cleared, he can be seen walking through the area between the trees looking lost. Rumoured to be another victim of mental health to the Great War, it's due to his khaki uniform that he is seen wearing, which was standard issue in World War I, is how he got his moniker of the Colonel. Rose Court is a typical picturesque courthouse you'd expect to find in a sleepy English village. It's a Grade II listed 19th century building, however it holds a dark past. Said to be home to the ghost of the Lady of Rose Court who found herself embroiled in a love triangle. She's also known as the Tudor Lady. She is said to have died by drinking a fatal cocktail made of distilled ivy and poisonous berries. She can be found looking out of the window, reportedly where she died, overlooking Greystones. She's allegedly seen between 4 and 5 p.m., which is the time frame when she died, and she's normally wandering around looking for her beloved dogs. The Monk of Greystones was a reclusive cleric who lived in Greystones, originally known as the Rectory Cottage. It was the home of the curate of St. Nicholas Church, nearby to the cottage. He is said to have died of a broken heart, and depending on the source you listen to, he was either a friend or involved in a love triangle with the Lady of Rose Court. The monk's spirit can be seen wandering around the courtyard of Greystones. He was often spotted in the gravestones. However, last reported sightings of the monk are at 1971 and 1989, and he hasn't been seen since. It seems he had managed to settle his unfinished business and has found peace in the afterlife. The Lady in White can be found roaming the graveyards of St. Nicholas Church and the home that belonged to her family, Surrendering. Whilst the grand house was destroyed by a fire in 1952, her spirit was reportedly seen by staff from the US Embassy who used the property as a base in World War I and II. It's alleged that an employee once held an all-night candlelit vigil on Christmas Eve when the Lady in White appeared in front of him, and he shot at her with his rifle in fright. It's documented that her body is entombed in no less than 7 coffins inside an oak sarcophagus and buried on the grounds of St. Nicholas Church. The Lady in Red is the tormented soul of a spirit found wandering the churchyard of the St. Nicholas Church in Pluckley. Reputedly to be of the Daring family, she is tall, slim, brunette, and seen in a red dress. Allegedly, she is to be found crying, looking for the grave of her baby. Conflicting stories say she either died during childbirth or her baby died during infancy. When she was laid to rest, a single red rose was placed on her coffin, which she is often seen holding. She has also been reported to be seen with the spirit of a small white dog, which was the beloved pet of the Lady in Red. Our final stops on the tour of Pluckley are the offerings of haunted pubs should you ever decide to do a pilgrimage to the most haunted village in England. The first is the Blacksmith's Arms, previously known as the Spectre's Arms and the Ghost's Arms, is home to 3 ghosts. Home to a Tudor maid, often seen behind the bar, a coachman who spotted gazing lovingly at the fire in the main bar, and a cavalier known for wreaking havoc in the upstairs rooms. The penultimate stop is the Black Horse. Once a farmhouse belonging to a famous bailiff, it was surrounded by a moat. The ghost of the Black Horse Inn is famous for making things disappear, only to reappear elsewhere in the pub a few days later. However, the Black Horse pub was closed down in November 2023, seemingly closing its doors forever. Finally, we have the Daring Arms, once a hunting lodge, now a pub, which is home to the ghost of a woman wearing a bonnet who's often seen enjoying her favourite tipple with patrons of the bar. She's said to be so powerful, she's often mistaken for a customer to vanish within seconds of being seen. And that will be all for today's video. What do you think of Pluckley? Is it truly haunted, or just a small village with tall tales? Do you believe in ghosts or not? Are there any famous hauntings and ghosts from your village or areas that you'd like me to cover? Leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to research it and publish a video. Thank you for sticking around. If you could please remember to leave a like and a subscribe to the channel, it really helps me out. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Good night and sleep tight, if you can.